Happy Feast Day, Internet! I'm the Catholic Bartender, and today we're celebrating the Feast of St. Lawrence. Now, St. Lawrence was a deacon in the 3rd century of the Church. This would have been before the Council of Nicaea, so Christianity was not yet legal. He was the Archdeacon of Rome, and St. Lawrence was known for going around preaching the gospel to those who have not heard the gospel yet, visiting the sick, visiting the poor, being a saint, as someone who was there willing to sacrifice his life for the church. In fact, that's what he ended up doing. So one day, St. Lawrence got caught by a Roman guard, and this Roman guard was greedy and gave him a deal. Said, I'll let you go, but you have to bring me some of the church's money, some of the church's treasures. St. Lawrence then said, sure, give me 3 days and I will give you all of the church's treasures. This Roman guard got very, very excited and very greedy and accepted the deal. So 3 days later, St. Lawrence made up with the guard, but he brought all of the poor and the disabled and the oppressed that he could muster. And he presented it to the guard saying, these are the treasures of the church. The guard, understandably so, got very, very frustrated with him and arrested him. During his sentencing, St. Lawrence did baptize a man in his jail. Now, St. Lawrence is also a very unique case of martyrdom because he did die by being grilled alive, but while he is the patron saint of deacons, he is also the patron saint of comedians because as he was being burned alive, his last words were, "Turn me over, I'm done on this side," which is quite a banger way to go out, not gonna lie. So, that's the name of this drink, is Turn Me Over. We're naming it after that funny phrase. Alright, so to get this cocktail started, you'll take out your shaker, you'll take out a measuring tool if you feel the need to use one, and you'll take out bourbon. Whatever bourbon you choose, I think Buffalo Trace is a wonderful bourbon. It's a good go-to bourbon. It's not too expensive. It's pretty easy to find as well for what it is. And we're going to start off our cocktail pouring 1.5 ounces of bourbon into our shaker. Just like that. Now the next thing that you'll need for this cocktail is you're going to need some apple juice. If you want something that's a little more less sweet, you could use not that apple cider isn't sweet, but you could use apple cider instead if you want to. The reason why I thought apple juice might be a better ingredient for this cocktail is because we're going to be adding a lot of stuff to it as is. So having a more juice flavor as opposed to a cider flavor might help balance out the flavors a little more. So you're going to put 1 ounce of apple juice into your cocktail. After you pour out your 1 ounce of apple juice, you're then going to take some cinnamon simple syrup. So if you don't know how to make this, it's pretty simple. It's regular simple syrup, so I do a 1-to-1 ratio of simple syrup. But you're going to throw some cinnamon sticks in there, and you're going to simmer it for about 10, maybe 12 minutes after you cooked it. And then you should get this little color to it, which will give it a cinnamon flavoring to your normal simple syrup. So you're going to add 1 ounce of your cinnamon simple syrup to this drink. And the last ingredient for this cocktail is you're going to do 1/2 ounce of lime juice. Lime juice I'm adding because it's going to help balance out some of the sweetness of this cocktail and just make that flavor just punch a little more. So once you've added all your ingredients, what you're going to do is you're going to take a shaker, and like usual, you're going to fill your shaker with some ice cubes. Once again, you don't need to fill the whole shaker, but a good chunk of it, because this will water down the drink a little bit. And before you start shaking, I totally forgot, you should bring out a martini glass. We will be using a martini glass for this drink. Once you finish shaking, go ahead and strain and pour out your drink. Now, to garnish this drink, what you're going to do, and you have to be a little careful because we're going to play with some fire here. So you're going to take some 151, rum 51. Don't know what it is. This is rum that is very, very high proof. So the 151 that I'm using right now is 75.5% alcohol. There are some that's a little lower in the alcohol. There's some that's a little higher. But you're simply going to make sure, and also having a pourer helps. You're just going to float that rum on top of the drink itself, like so. And then, once you've done that, you're going to take a torch. Technical difficulties, the rum is not wanting to float. Alright, cocktail is on fire. It's not on fire very, very well. I think I didn't float the rum very well. But if you want the fire to get a little higher, what you can do is you can garnish it with some cinnamon. I'm using some Great Value cinnamon. Take a little pinch. Uh-oh, I spilled my cinnamon. If you want to make the garnish a little better, take a pinch of cinnamon. And there you have it. The turn me over. Ooh. Now, just for safety reasons, before you ever drink a cocktail that was on fire, it's always good to take a different cocktail, glass, or something. I'm going to use a coaster here just to garnish it. Garnish should put out the fire, just in case. It's very, very good. This reminds me a lot of a cocktail that I've made in the past called an apple cider martini. Although the martini used vodka, this uses bourbon, and the bourbon flavor is still there. So I really like it because I'm a big bourbon drinker. But even if you're not a bourbon drinker, this is very much a good fireside cocktail. Very, very warm, very, very nice. It's summer right now, and it's probably summer for you too because it's August. But if it's not August and you want something that would be really, really good to drink by the fireside during December, this would be a great cocktail for that. Another thing about this cocktail is that this time when I made it, the fire, there wasn't as much rum in it, and that rum didn't allow the fire to really grow as much. In the past, when I've made it when there's more fire, that fire will actually create a more caramel flavor too in the cocktail. So unlike that apple cider martini that I was talking about, it will actually have a more caramel flavoring to it as well, which pairs very, very well with the rest of the drink, really making it, once again, a really good wintry drink. Looking back at it, maybe I should have saved this cocktail for a Saint in December, because obviously it's very fitting, because the fire represents St. Lawrence being burned alive, but this cocktail it goes so well in that fall, wintry season. Thank you very much for watching.